Hey there, Austin. Could you do a sound check for us, please?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to do that again in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, could we try one more time, please?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh.
No.
Still not hearing you, so I'm going to try it one more time,
Okay.
or I guess as many times as it takes. Okay, that should work.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Got it.
Okay, I'll call the November 8th, 2023 meeting of the Manitou Springs Planning Commission to order. And first, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Graybill. Present. Commissioner Latimer.
Present.
Commissioner Casey.
Present.
Commissioner Storm.
Present.
Commissioner Day.
Present.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Okay, next item is public comment on non-agenda items. This is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to comment on any item that's not on the agenda. And if you'd like to do that, you can have up to 3 minutes to state your thoughts on an issue that we're not considering tonight. And we'd ask you to keep it to 3 minutes. So at this time, if anybody would like to comment, to step to the table and speak. And seeing no takers, we'll move on. Next item is approval of the minutes of the October 11th, 2023 meeting.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that. Okay, yeah, all in favor? Okay, we have Gloria's abstaining because she wasn't at the meeting, so 6-0 on that. So we'll move on to the business part of the meeting. I'll just describe briefly what we do. I'll call an item for consideration and planning staff will describe what the request was and what their analysis and findings are. And following that, we will allow the applicant to speak and state their case. And following that, it will allow anyone in the public to comment on the item under consideration. And following that, we will vote to approve, possibly table or deny, or we may modify the request if we can. And as we go through this, we're guided by our land use and development code. We don't legislate, we are interpreting what's in the code. And so with that, are there any ex parte contacts or conflicts? Seeing none, then we'll move right on to first item of new business is STR 2306, a short-term rental permit at 7 Jade Avenue.
Thank you, Chair Delwich. The applicant has requested a continuation on this application to a date certain of the December 13th hearing.
Okay, could I have a motion to postpone
Motion to postpone
to,
December 13th,
okay,
2023.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, those opposed? David, you didn't vote. You can. No, okay. Yeah, only can abstain if you have a conflict on the issue at hand, of course. Okay, next item is temporary use permit 2306, 302 Manitou Jeep parking.
Thank you, Chair Delwich.
Oh, we'll call you up after when it's time. Thank you.
Give me just one moment to get my screen shared. Okay, application TUP 2306 is a major temporary use permit application at 302 Manitou Avenue. And the request is to operate the Jeep tours by Mountain Jeep LLC, allowing them to operate from the shared parking lot. Using this parking lot as a meeting point, customers would park personal vehicles and in the lot for the duration of their Jeep tour. There would be no additional business by this business done at that location. This is zoned commercial, and the lot is occupied with 2 commercial structures and 1 accessory structure. The commercial structures are currently occupied by a retail liquor store and a restaurant. Here we have our proposed location. We previously heard major temporary use permit 2304 earlier this year, which was a request by the e-bikes tours and rentals to use the parking lot similarly to conduct their business out of. However, that business is renting their vehicles from that parking lot, whereas the current proposal with the Jeep tours, they would, the customers would park there and go on the Jeep tour, come back, pick up their vehicles and vacate the premises. The staff has done a parking calculation to determine whether or not this site has adequate parking for both brick and mortar businesses as well as the e-bike tours and the Jeep tours. And based off of a 2001 site plan, which is when the restaurant was constructed, we can see that there were 5 parking spaces required for the retail store, 8 parking spaces required for the restaurant, There is one parking lot required or provided for the shed, though the shed was not present at the time of that site plan. So that does mean that 14 spaces are required on the site, however, 25 are available. So this leaves 11 for the Jeep tours and the e-bike tours to share, if this application is granted. Staff evaluated the proposed business hours of the two businesses and is of the opinion that 11 parking spaces is adequate to support both businesses throughout the winter. It has also been made clear to the applicant that should this use be proposed to be permanent, then a full development plan and associated site improvements would be required for that site. Staff does recommend approval of the application with the condition that the major temporary use permit would expire within 1 year. And here we have our proposed motion language. And this concludes my presentation.
Any questions for staff?
Chelsea, I just wanted to confirm there's space available for both the e-bike tours and the Jeep tours because they're going at different times.
That is correct. And also based off of the anticipated number of vehicles per tour for each company at any given time. So even if they were running concurrently, there would be adequate parking space.
Okay, now's the time the applicant can come up and yes, have a seat and push the little button in the middle and you have to get the speaker like within about 3 inches and start by stating your name and address for the record.
James Coakley, owner of Mountain Jeep LLC,
And your address, your residence address?
1688 Summer Night Terrace in Colorado Springs.
Great. Okay, you have the floor now. If, are you comfortable with the staff recommendation? Anything you'd like to add?
I mean, I think she's got it covered, especially through the winter. Everything's slow during the winter for tourism. And I believe there's on the table for next March for them to expand the liquor store out. And so the year, I don't know if that's because we would redo it in March, right? If they do expand and add the buildings and we go through this process again.
So we don't currently have an application in review for a major development plan at that site. I have had a pre-application meeting with the other applicant to review those requirements. It's unclear to me when that application can be anticipated. We have made the 1 year expiration of this type of temporary use permit pretty standard practice, but it's certainly up to the board to determine if that's adequate.
Anything else you'd like to add? Okay,
Or- Oh, sorry. I don't think so.
Okay, any questions for the applicant?
Hi, Mr. Coakley. I was wondering if I'm on your 9 o'clock tour, can I leave my car there until the 1 o'clock tour then finishes? I mean, is there any monitoring about how long your customers can keep their cars in that space?
Any monitoring?
Yeah, I mean, would you know? I mean, I'm thinking that you might end up with more cars there than you really wanted because people would rather leave their car there and walk than come back from your tour and pick their car up.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I mean, I wouldn't let them stay there. I would tell them, they would need to go on.
So
we need the park.
you will be there to be able to
Yeah.
monitor. Thank you.
Or one of my employees will.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. Dog. Okay, thank you. Well, you can be seated again. If we have any more questions, we'll bring you back. And so now would be the time for public comment. But since there is nobody in the audience, I think we'll close the public comment portion. Oh,
For the record, Hannah Van Nimwegen, there are two individuals online. I've unmuted them, so they do have the ability to speak if they would like to comment.
Yeah, I'm on to reject 7J. That's all I was on for.
okay, thank you. We're done with that one. That one was postponed until December.
I don't see anyone else unmuting themselves.
Okay, then we'll close the public comment portion. And we're at the table.
I move approval of temporary use 2306 at 302 Manitou Avenue with staff's conditions as outlined.
Second.
Okay, is there any more discussion? And all in favor? Okay, and so this passes unanimously. So you're done. Thank you. Thank you. Next item is short-term rental 2307 at short-term rental at 7 Mountain View Road.
Thank you. We are requesting a continuation for the SDR 2307 at 7 Manitou View Road. Sorry, to a date certain of December 13th.
Who is requesting it? The planning department or the applicant?
The application is currently incomplete, so we need some additional time to get some clarity on the site plan elements.
Motion to postpone to December 13th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, so motion carries and
Ellen, I wonder, are applicants required to give any kind of reasoning for these delays? Because it affects the people who want to attend the meeting and voice their opinion. It certainly affects all of us. There's something about coming down here and having 2 items continued, and I hope that's not just automatic. So I don't know, maybe you could clarify that when we have it.
yeah, I think it's generally based on, situations that come up, like we don't want to waste time with an incomplete application and we may not know until the last minute. So anything you'd like to add, Hannah?
Thank you, Chair Delwich. What I would like to add is we do have a application deadline and a review process. And so in our initial review, things may look like we have enough information, but then upon an in-depth review, we find that we're missing information. And so usually about that time is about when we're legally required to send out public notice. And so once we publish that public notice, we are obligated to put it on an agenda. And sometimes the applicant is forthcoming and saying, yes, I can get you this information the next day. That happens. We don't have a problem. But there are other times where the applicant isn't able to get us that information in a timely manner in order to publish it for the City Planning Commission agenda. And so that's often how we end up in this situation where we have asked for information for valid reasons. The applicant isn't able to get those to us. And therefore, we are required to request for continuation versus just not having it on an agenda. So it's an effort to be customer service friendly, to make sure they get through the process as fast as we can without unnecessarily delaying the process by putting a posting out there. But then sometimes it doesn't fully work out and we have to request continuation.
Well, as a service organization, I've been impressed by the planning commission ever since I've been on the planning department, ever since I've been on planning commission. And that sounds like a good approach to take. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to other business, staff updates.
To me again. I do have a couple of updates for the Planning Commission. First is the individual to my right, left, Ethan Schaefer. Today is his first day. He started with us as a planner too. He comes from the city of Colorado Springs, where he was also a city planner. I'll turn it over to you if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, commissioners. My name is Ethan. I use they and he pronouns. And like Hannah was saying, I have been with the city of Colorado Springs for the past 2 years as a planner, focusing in single family residential review, some lower level commercial review, kind of development review focus. And so I'm excited for the new opportunity here with y'all and getting to learn about the wonders of Manitou and getting to learn further under some pretty great professionals.
Well, welcome and welcome to the best planning department in El Paso County, if not all of Colorado.
Thank you.
But what's the difference between a planner 1 and 2?
Absolutely. So it kind of depends on what municipality you're in. For the city of Colorado Springs, Planner 1 is doing a lot of pre-application meetings with typically single-family homeowners and just homeowners in general regarding accessory structures, additions, single-family new builds, two-family, things like that. A lot of development review at the building permit stages and a little bit of land use review as well. And so the step up to the Planner 2 is really taking on more of that land use review role and working with the community as a whole for some larger projects.
Thanks.
Yeah, I would say a planner 2 levels when you start adding in professional judgment and some discretionary review. So planner 1, plan tech, it's really like, does this meet code? Does this check the boxes? And that's a very important foundational skill set. But then once you start getting up to planner 2, senior planner and above, then you call those skills back up and then start using your best professional judgment on what may be best for the community in certain locations and things like that. Other updates. So I also wanted to share that next Tuesday is where Alan is presenting to the City Council the Planning Commission's budget. So that was a presentation I gave, I believe, last month, that $1,400. And I'll share that presentation with you. I got it uploaded. And also, Alan was kind enough to buy our lunch this afternoon. So thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
Since October was Community Development Month. So we appreciate that. And I feel like I had, my last update is pretty soon here, we will have our city attorney, Austin, join us for annual just presentation where we go over and refresh ex parte communications, legal requirements by the Planning Commission, and anything else that is important for being a commissioner on this board in Manitou Springs. We had scheduled that for December 13th, but seeing as we have potentially 2 STR applications that evening, maybe we'll look at another night so that we're not here super late. But I'll talk with Austin and we'll figure it out, but I'll let you know when that presentation is. And if we could have attendance, I see a thumbs up from Austin, so that sounds good. I'll communicate with you guys when that is. And if you could attend, that would be absolutely great. If not, just let me know and then we can make sure that you get a recording of it so you can watch it later. And that's all I got.
Great, thank you. Anything else? Okay,
I
then.
do.
Oh, Mike.
The last meeting, we talked about the $1,400 in our budget, and I suggested some sort of orientation class or not class, some sort of orientation education for new people. Is that? I mean, I was just planting the seed. Do you think that's a good idea? Should we? Gloria, I know you weren't here, but so Hannah was saying that we have a $1,400 budget every year. And she was asking for ideas on how to spend some of that money, I guess. So I thought it would be a good, my first thought was a video of welcome to the team, et cetera, but that might get obsolete real quick. So I thought maybe a PowerPoint. I was thinking Windows, but PowerPoint might be easier to maintain. But anyway, I know we've been here a long time. I don't want to go in depth, but this is just, if you want to pass those out, just like a preliminary outline. If you want to just take that with you and it's just a conversation piece to start the thought process. I mean, we don't have to go over it. It was just kind of getting the ball rolling.
Mike, would this be something that the chair and the planning department present?
Present.
in
Well, it has
terms
to
of-
be
I mean, who
produced.
does this?
That's the great unknown. I don't think we should put the burden on the planning department any more than it is. I'll do it for $1,400, that's for sure.
I'll help you.
Or we could hire some. Yeah, I mean, there's options. We've apparently have money. We can hire some kid. I'm this is as far as we've got.
Okay.
It's a really good idea. It's a great idea and I know when I came on board, I didn't really, there's not a lot of onboarding. And this is, I think it would really help. And I think things come up for new members that just, they don't understand what's right, okay to do and what's not.
Right.
And it helps them feel more comfortable so they don't feel awkward and do something wrong.
Exactly. Right.
Would our legal professional who is paid by the city, would that be the logical source or one?
I would assume that could get expensive. He might,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
certainly assume he would critique it.
Yeah,
Some-
we'd go over $1,400 real quickly. I don't think we want to do that.
Well, I was thinking maybe that would just be part of his regular responsibilities, but.
I think there might be some already produced from the American Planning Association resources that could fill a good chunk of this. Except for the, specific to our local land use code. So maybe that's something that we could just, if it's necessary, purchase. But if not, just use because we're maybe members.
I can definitely look at what resources the APA has and go from there.
Yeah, I vaguely remember having something that covers a lot of these things from the CML too. And I'll see if I can dig it out because I'm sure I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, again, this is just what I came up with in my, so this is not. It's intended just to get the juices flowing. So if you can think of other things.
Yeah.
My email's on the bottom if anybody has any thoughts, at least to keep the outline moving.
Okay.
Could I jump in and first of all, thank you so much for putting this together. I really appreciate it, Commissioner Casey. I believe it would probably be best from open meeting standpoint to email staff any feedback on this. Am I correct, Hannah?
So
Or
I can jump in if that's all right. So open meetings is 3 or more. So if it's just direct to the vice chair, we're okay. I'm not sure what's on the handout that was just passed out, but I also might have stuff in our files that we've previously prepared. And so I can work with Hannah on that as well. And hopefully do that at very low or no cost, but you're probably right about the attorney fees being a little bit higher than some other consultant.
But I thought that the open meeting that, maybe we should put that on here. The open meeting rule was relevant to things that, for lack of a better term, would impact the public versus something internal that we're, I mean.
It's so the general, it's very broad. The open meeting law says that a public meeting is any meeting in which public discourse or public decisions may be made that affect the local body or that affect the local governance structure. So it's literally almost anything. So recently this year, there was case law saying that text messages or group message between 3 planning commissioners is an open meeting because they were talking about an applicant in them, and they were all subject to Cora as well. So it just keeps ballooning. The courts just kind of keep making it larger and larger.
Okay, fair enough. So if somebody wanted to input, would we just reply all to one of your emails?
Go ahead, Austin.
Yes, so no reply all. That's the general rule. So staff can send you stuff. I can send you stuff to the entire commission, and that's not an open meeting violation because it's not between 2 local public body members, right? It's not between 2 planning commissioners. So once the planning commission starts interacting with each other, if it's more than 3 of them interacting with each other, then that does trigger the open meetings law. So general rules, if you're all in the chain, don't reply all, but you can reply directly. And then typically you want to copy staff on that. An easier solution might be just to send Hannah all of your revisions, and then she can compile them and send them back, if that's okay with you, Hannah.
Yeah, one question on Austin, you said more than 3, don't you mean more than 2?
Correct, yeah, more than 2. So if it's 3 or more, yeah. I think I misspoke.
So then would this training need to be open to the public?
Correct.
Thank you.
Or at least publicly noticed, which we can do fairly easily on the city website.
Yeah, I'll add if there's 3 or more commissioners getting together to help work on this, just let me know the time and place, and then I'll do the appropriate public notice, which is just posting it on the city hall front door, and then we're good to go.
Okay,
New topic?
new topic?
Yeah,
Are
are we done with that topic?
Yeah.
Just in terms of public access, I couldn't find my packet because I have 2 computers today. And I went out to the city website and went into the agendas and went to agendas and packets for planning commission. And it wasn't there. And there's only like 3 months for this year that are online. So I think isn't that supposed to be kept up to date?
Thank you, Commissioner Storm. So was it documents on demand?
I went through the city's little document tree.
Yes, so that is out of date, and we have a temporary employee helping us get caught up. I know it's not funny, but it is a little bit. I didn't know about documents on demand until pretty recently, so we're working on getting it updated ASAP.
I would just think that since it was today's meeting, it would be up. If you can catch up and get old stuff in, but it seems like the stuff like for today should be there.
I can actually show you, we do post it in a current place online. So here we have our city website. And at the bottom of the page, there is agendas and minutes. So if you scroll down a little bit past where you get into documents on demand, you can see the meeting of tonight's planning commission.
Okay, so if the other tree is not kept up to date, you could take it down.
We're in the
it's a city-
process of getting it updated.
No, I know.
Right. Other departments have theirs updated. We just haven't caught
Okay.
up yet. And so we are getting there, but the current materials are available in this secondary location.
Okay, and you can't just link them.
Unfortunately not. They are 2 separate systems.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Then let's adjourn the meeting.
Have a good night, Austin.